Peace and blessings. Keep up the lessons. This is your brother Taalib from the Brother Taalib Show. Yes, we're going to get in again on this Afridamus show thing, getting about, talking about religion and how it affected the people and criminalize African culture. So let's get in. You ready? Let's get it. Ready? Let's get it. Yes, okay. Okay, let's get into it now. Basically, I'm going to just let you hear so the time can go on, but this is going to be a little longer in the video. Just stay with me, hang in there. Don't forget to click the like button, subscribe, keep on subscribing. I appreciate those who have subscribed within this past month that I've been doing these videos and everything, and there's more to come, but this is going to probably be the last video. I'm going to try to do as much as I can and squeeze in as much as I can so you can, and I'm pretty sure after all those videos I did, you get in the gist, but most of it was with him speaking. So I'm going to let you listen to like maybe two of his panelists. If I can get the sister in, then I'll do so. But if ultimately, just watch the video on your own, do your own due diligence, and use your own mind. Don't just be a blind file. Open your mind up. Open yourself up to say, okay, I want to hear and I want to be objective, not subjective. I want to be on a fair-minded thought, not bias. You understand? Even if you're not of the faith of Islam or you're not of the faith of Christianity, if you are into African cultural spirituality from the ancient times and so forth, before Islam, through the Prophet's teachings, entered Africa. Okay, because I keep trying to tell y'all, we did shows with Happy Companion, we did shows with the other brothers that was on the panel that has spoke about, and some of you needed to do your own due diligence and find out for yourself and research that Islam is not a belief that just came from the Arabs. I keep trying to tell you, but some of you might not get it because you have a bias block. You got to get the bias block out of your head. You got to open up your mind and say, no, I'm going to be fair-minded. I'm going to allow some knowledge to come in that may not be what I agree with, but I'm going to let it come in so they're not, because it's always good to hear different stories, different sides of the stories. You understand? You hear his way that he's coming and his point of view, okay, which a lot of errors have been made, but if you don't allow others to speak, like myself, I'm speaking to you, and you guys, you're viewing this video to open your mind and say, wait a minute, let me hear it from the other side. Let me hear what he's saying, and let me go and do my research as well. Be right behind both of us. You understand what I'm saying? So let's let him talk, and then we'll get in. All right.
So I'm not gonna be focusing on to say, oh, black and white. No, I'm talking about ideology, because this is what it is, ideology.
And it's not an ideology when it comes to Islam. There are ideologies in other faiths, maybe, and I can't speak for any other faiths. I mean, I can, but that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to speak on the Islamic basis of, and on the behalf of Islam, because I'm not of any other faith. I'm of Islam, and I'm going to clarify my faith. But as far as others, they can clarify what is their point of view or their position with their faith in relation to what he's saying that's an error for Christianity, Judaism, which he even spoke about Judaism. And that's surprising because there's a major group of West Africans in all over the parts of Africa. Some of them have spread around that are Hebrew Israelites. They profess Hebrew Israelite background and their faith of the belief of Judaism. They're there. I think the Igbos, I'm going to do research a little bit and maybe do another video on them, but to give some background for them. Because why? Because that's where monotheism originated. It originated with them as far as the teaching of Bani Israel, of the children of Israel. Monotheism, their forefather, their patriarch, as we know, and great-great-great-grandfather Abraham, which is the father of their grandfather, the children of Israel, who was Isaac, right? or Ishaq we say in Arabic, and then Jacob, Yaqub, Jacob. Okay, Jacob was the father of the 12 tribes of Israel, of all his 12 children, his sons. You understand? So that's before Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Prophet Muhammad, came into the scene of bringing Islam, of the teachings that he received, because Islam, as we know with the Prophet Muhammad, unlike Abraham, it was just that it was the last revelation, because he sent it with his word, the Quran, the last revelation. So it was the last time that he sent Tawheed, Islamic monotheism, pure monotheism, singling out Allah in worship, not joining partners in praying to others as God or images of God or whatever. Okay? This is the difference between monotheism, belief in one deity, and polytheism, or how many ever. Okay? And that's the thing. And then you got disbelief, straight atheism, that don't believe in any God. So that's a whole nother story. But that's where this mentality comes off with people like him, is that they criminalize the African culture and their ways of spirituality. No, it doesn't criminalize it by just the people doing so. It is basically the creator establishing the difference between believing in him as one and believing in all these other beings that they say is gods or saints, or they worship these other beings that can help them in their life. You know what I'm saying? And they have these folkloral stuff that they get into that relates to that type of belief. Then you have the ancient, like I said, with the Bani Israel, Musa, Moses in Africa. Okay, so how did it become that monotheism just entered in with Islam or Christianity and that ain't even pure monotheism that the Europeans taught, their version of Christianity. The version of Christianity that was there before they came in there forcefully was the teachings of Isa, of Jesus, or Yeshua, as they say in Hebrew. Okay, Isa in Amharic, the language that he actually even spoke. And he didn't speak English. So I get into a little bit of the religions, but because it's hard to not to, because he's talking about the religions. He didn't even, like I said, he didn't speak about Hebrew Israelites, and I got a little bit on, into a tangent. But I told you this video is going to be a little longer, so just bear with me and stay with me and listen to what else he's saying. So it's not an ideology for Islam; it's a way of life. It's a way of life, and he mentions that, and he says, "Oh, if it's a way of life, then because you don't understand it and you didn't accept it in your heart to continue to follow it, because you obviously spoke about, as you was brought up in the faith, taught Quran, taught different things by the imams that were there, but then you went off on your way, and you're gonna get a little bit of what he went off on your way. I have a clip to tell you, and maybe you can think and say, he got caught up in the dunya, meaning the worldly life. This is what we call it, dunya, meaning worldly, limited way of living. But everything is a now. I want to get that money. I want to get this. I want to be this. I want to be with the picket fence. I want to have all the good and the glamour and glitz and glamour. But it's not going to be in the hereafter. You're going to live for a certain amount of time, and you may not even live for a certain amount too long. You might die before you even try to get all that glitz and glamour that you're chasing in the dunya. Dunya means that it has it's not unlimited. It has a limit. Okay, that's the root word that it comes from. And I'm not going to break down in Arabic. I'm not going to get too technical. But basically, this is where money is connected to that. This is where he speaks about negatively that the people who are learning and teaching only Quran to these children, and that's not true. And they don't just teach them only Quran as far as Islam. There's so many facets and aspects of Islam that they teach that goes into more things, and they become highly knowledgeable of normal social order. This is what societies are built on, social order. Farming, agriculture, economics, money, right? This is what is it? Um, Infrastructure, building development. You understand? Education, judicial, excuse me, judicial systems, meaning law. This is what societies have been built in many major, even ancient societies. Some of them was lacking some of those qualities, some of those things, as we know today in more modern times. You understand? So what is he talking about? In Islam, the belief had it's like I said, it's a way of life. It's Deen al-Islam, the way of life of Islam, submitting to the Creator, because the Creator built everything. He built the mountains. He built the lakes, the rivers, the oceans. Okay, he built this earth, and he gave us and put us from out of this earth, right here, and it's proof in that matter. Adam, what every substance they said he was made of clay. All the substances in the earth is in our bodies. Not all of them. You can't say every bit of substance or element, but you can find the proof from scientific findings. They've been doing this. They've been doing these studies for hundreds of years, if any thousands. But we can only say from it could date it back to when mankind started doing major studies of science and the elements, and that we have certain vitamins and minerals and stuff in our bodies automatically that we need, that the body needs to function. Besides 75% or more water in our body. So what are you talking about? Like you disconnecting money from the Creator. Like gold wasn't created by the Creator. Minerals that man makes money off of. Oil that man, what is it? They call it black gold, right? Now you talk about with the Arabs, but there's plenty. Nigeria has plenty of oil, right? Sudan had the problems between those who was going to have control over oil, and this is in Africa, right? But it's money is worth something. Art is worth something. People are starting to use art as a hedge fund to put their money there to protect their wealth, because certain other things are changing now. So what are you talking about, bro? In as far as economics, you want to talk about money, but I'm going to give you the clip later and let you listen to it. Let me let you go with more.
Imagine Africans taking up arms against other Africans to enforce a foreign ideology. Hey,
He is so dramatic. Imagine. He's a good guy. He's a good speaker. You know what I'm saying? Because he dramatizes his speaking, and it gets people to, and feel. It gets your heart to thump. Go ahead, bro. Get it to thump, but make sure that thump is going to be correct until it stops. Boom. And no more beating. Then where are you going to be? In that grave. Yeah, but anyway, so the thing he's saying is that imagine that, they're coming at arms at each other. Africans have been coming at arms with each other for centuries, decades, eras. We dated back to them ancient Egyptians, the Kushites, the empires of all these different the Zulus in South Africa, and the other tribal warfare that's been going on before even the European came out of his caveman state and decided to go and explore in the world and building and out of his barbaric state of being or where they were at, okay, and even came away from built feudalism, built their kingdoms and started to become kings and queens because they were no more just tribal barbaric tribes. Now they became kings and queens like us over here in Africa because they learned from us. Yeah, we know this, especially most of you Pan-Africans. You better know Dr. Henry Clark and all those Afrocentric scholars that we listened to, even myself included when I was in those days. I've passed that. I'm on Islam. and because I learned the truth, mashallah. And that's where I'm at. This is the last part of my life. Like the last part of this deen was given to mankind. So all of you, y'all can be whatever you want, but I'm going to be on this. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Yeah, I'm coming at it. I'm doing it. I'm theatrical, if you want to call it. No, it's not theatrical. This is real me. I'm an emotional brother sometimes when that thing is going in my heart and letting me know what I got to stay firm on and love, because that is what saved me from my own evils of myself, let alone any of you from the outside of me, and saved me from the shaitan, who's my true enemy. Not even him. He's not an enemy to me. This is an African brother. He's an African human brother, but you know he's just on his path. That's it. May Allah guide him back. Allahumma ameen. He left the path of Islam. He was young. He whatever he went through, resentment, bitterness, boom, bang, let him away. All the dunya, all the love of this world, and the glitz and the glamour, like I said. And now he's where he's at. Okay, so let's let it go a little bit more.
Hey, I don't care what you say. Say what you want. That's what it is. You look at Boko Haram.
Yeah, look at Boko Haram, and you know he's bringing what a whole lot of different African, you know, I say not just saying Pan-Africanists. They got different groups, but that push just the African, you know, Afrocentric, ancestral, spiritual, traditional, cultural card. And when I say that, and I'm not saying it in a negative way or trying to, you know, to insult. I'm saying that's where their mindset is at. That's where the level of thinking is at. Not on a level of thinking like you had Mandela sometimes when he was speaking. He even had a big time, you know, disagreement with his wife that I guess might have led to their separation, as I learned and studied and did some reading on their relationship besides their movement in South Africa, because he was more like, you know, like Martin Luther King. You know, he didn't want to go and be militant against like Malcolm X was with the European Americans in America. Okay, Mandela didn't want to be like Malcolm X, so or people like that were militant against and strong and hardcore and rigid against their oppressors, that they would even battle them and kill them. You understand? To protect themselves and so forth. And he spoke about peace. He spoke about equality. And that's where Islam is at. But Islam is not just being a pacifist. That's what the word I wanted to say. He was more like a pacifist. Can't even say that word right. Pacifist. And you have Martin Luther King, you had Gandhi, these people, when they believed in nonviolent protests and stuff like that. But I don't get into all that's where ideologies come from. I deal with what Allah says and His Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the guidance that they came with. Of course, the Creator, number one, Allah, and His Prophet that He sent to us. And basically, there's a balance when it comes to Islam. You can basically, as from the guidance of the Quran, it tells you many verses, many surahs, chapters, that you can uphold yourself and be who you are, and establish yourself as a balanced person. Boko Haram is not; they weren't balanced either. Okay, so they were like the opposite side of when the Muslim is the one who is so pacifist that they don't want to, they just want all peace and they want to even compromise some of their faith. No, you can't do that neither. You have to say, be on the standards, stay on the faith, but also you don't have the right to go and harm people innocently. So using Boko Haram is a norm with their people because they're used to doing that to try to portray and defame Islam. But Boko Haram is not the majority of the makeup of Muslims in Africa, let alone throughout the world. Just like all these other so-called terrorist groups, but they are terrorist groups. But these groups that are radicalist terrorist people, they're not Islamist. Let's get away, because Islam doesn't promote that type of ideology. Now they carry an ideology because they came outside of what the way of life what Islam is established by. Only the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad. That's the blueprint. That's the path. That's the way. That's the way of how Islam is supposed to be followed, and the path of the Salaf, the people who were with the Prophet, the 3 generations that preceded while the Prophet was around, and then after he died, the 2nd generation, and then 3rd generation. That's it. That's where it stops. Then it's the scholars that inherited the knowledge from them, from those early generations. Okay, so that's where Islam is established. Not on all these other people say, oh, this imam that raised him up and tried to teach him, and or the ones that were in the school beating him, and probably others with the stick. I don't know, because I've seen this as a norm in some of the some of the alims or mu'alim teachers of from Africa, as well as even with sometimes with the others. But I've seen it more with the Africans, that they hit the children while they not showing that they're paying attention when they're learning the Quran. So this is something that a child, and I can understand where his mentality is probably coming from. There's a lot of bitterness probably in the background, and he tries to show it with dramatization in his videos. But, or he tries to overshadow it. Okay, let's say that. He doesn't show it. He doesn't try to show it. But I see through it, because Islam teaches you how to see people through that cover that they try to put. Yeah, because of the stuff, how they speak, the gestures, and the movements, and the platform they're on, they're sitting on. Okay, and who they're trying to get to, and what they're trying to push. So we need to be mindful, people. You understand? So we're 22 minutes in. It's going to probably be a 30-minute video. Let's see. Let's hope not.
In Nigeria, do you think, as regularly, if an African people are with their sense, what Africans do you know are willing to take up arms against other Africans just to change
Okay, enough of that. So we already know that Boko Haram doesn't speak for Islam, and they say they do and whatever. They're not representatives of Islam, because they're contradictive to what Islam really truly is in their actions. That's clear. Okay, we're gonna we'll deal with that in another video, because I really need to deal with all these fallacies that these Africans and African diasporans and Pan-Africanists and Afrocentric people who want to bring against Islam and use these things. Okay, like I said, I'm coming to support Islam and the clarity of what it truly is, and bring the truth away from the falsehood or errors that these people make through misunderstanding or purpose bias slander, and they use like undertone type of slander. They don't come too far direct, because they know they sit on a platform of social media, and they don't want to be politically incorrect, if you want to call that like that. But anyway, let's see. I want to shoot up to where he has his guests come in, because that is what I wanted to do. I was planning to do that. And the next time, if I do another one of these videos with him, it's going to be more, I'm going to be dealing more with like clips, because, sometimes searching for, trying to find the right part of where he was at, and, that becomes a problem. So as far as the technology is concerned, you got to push the thing back and go back and like kind of rewind in a sense. All right, so let's see where he's at. He has this guy, I guess his name is Saint James or something like that, and he's from West Africa. I don't know what country, but he makes his opinions too, and his point of view too. Let's listen.
Just to have a conversation and ask questions. You see people, they're not.
Give me 15 seconds and I'll show you how you can get featured in major media.
Okay, I'm going to try to go up past this. Let's see if we can pass this. Or, let's see, let's turn the volume down. Okay, hold on for a second.
even an inch towards,
Right.
the reality of the situation, and I believe having these kind of conversations across Africa will help a lot, but believe me, like you said, you're gonna get a lot of pushback. A lot of pushback means even we have to consider death
Right.
because in the Muslim community in Africa, these people, they're not having it.
Right.
You know,
But
I'm,
but but you see, that's the thing. A lot of people, you know, I don't think they even know. They just go with sentiment. They've been told a story.
And again, how it gives with the story. And if you watch this video, you hear about that. I skipped over it because I'm trying to get this done. About him with heaven and all his inconsistencies and talking about wine. He don't even understand what it means when it speaks about wine because it's not saying wine in the English language. That's the translation of the word that is in Arabic. And in Arabic, you got to understand there's meanings that come from when you say these Arabic words. And Arabic is precise. That's why Allah used this Quran. He gave it in the Arabic language. Why? Because the Arabic language is a precise language. It's an ancient language and it's precise Afro uh, um, uh, um, Semitic language. Okay, so basically, you got to take the meanings and break them down with the understanding of the Arabic language and the meaning of the word itself, where it derives from the root and so forth. And then and this might be several meanings for that one word that might be a few meanings from that one word that might give it um, the understanding of it better. And it may not be to the word that we're saying in English, wine, to mean that it's something to drink to intoxicate you. Because then the scholars come and with the when it's translated even in the English, it is known that the wine is unintoxicating. It cannot intoxicate you in paradise at all. So this is the point. But it has taste that tastes better than the wine here. And this is the scholars that break this down. You understand? I don't know who we sat with, Imam or whoever, but majority of the scholars, this is where the understanding of it, okay, from my research and my understanding as I've learned from it. Because this is stuff that people question even when coming to the faith, like myself, new. And they want to know, oh, are we going to be drinking wine in heaven? Isn't it intoxicating? No. And they break it down. Why? And the understanding, okay? Because there's not going to be anything impure in heaven, in paradise, as this guy misunderstands. According to Islamic understanding. Can't take it from all the other religions because there's so much misconceptions that have been brought about and also tampering with the other scriptures, we're going to say like that. The people of the book, Ahlul Kitab, we say in Arabic, which means the people of the book that came before with the same teachings of Allah, God, to calling the people to the oneness of God. Abraham, like I said, was the first man and prophet at the time that was bringing a belief system, because he put it together as he went through his life, and Allah kept teaching him what he was to him, because he went through all that idolatry stuff around his people. You understand? So again, with heaven and all this other stuff, he misconceptions because he didn't learn correctly. He wasn't taught correct. And if you don't have an open heart to it, and you have a rejection, because there's children that reject Islam. I know plenty of children that today, unfortunately, because especially with the influence of the West over their brains, and they be in universities and those are the older children of the Muslim families, okay, that are going astray. But the younger ones, forget it. If their parents are not teaching them correctly, and listen to that, correctly, not teaching them in a forceful way and beating them. You don't beat them, and you don't use the Quran to punish a child. This is not correct. This is not from the proper teachings of Islam. As the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he never punished anybody with teachings of Islam. That's not known, and you will never find that in any hadith. And if you find it in hadith, that hadith, I mean, Allah knows best. I'm more sure that it is not a sound hadith, and it should be looked and checked and made sure with proof and evidences to back that up. Isnad and all that. The chain has to be strong, but if it's not, then you can reject it unless there's scholars that clarify it can be taken as a weak narration from the hadith. And that stuff he didn't know. He doesn't know that stuff. He might got into it in the hadiths and he want to say the names, but do you understand what the names are and what they mean? When you deal with any belief, you need to know the aspects. You need to know what is behind it, its foundation, what was it used for? Is it beneficial to you? In Islam, everything that we have is beneficial to us. The proof is in the platter by so many different types of people and their testimonies and how they come to be from being a non-Muslim in the mentality and understanding and belief of where they was at, because they didn't believe in the one deity. But most people who know that, especially in the West, they might have been brought up and raised in other beliefs. But when they come to Islam, they know about the knowledge of the one God, especially through Judaism and Christianity. Those are the biggest beliefs, the two biggest beliefs. Christianity bigger than all as far as people is concerned, the numbers of people. That Islam is the fastest growing. Why? Because, and that's a proof in the platter, like I said, because the truth that's there, because the clarity, because the genuine acts that go on that is in line and connected with the Creator, and not necessarily like you saying is a man-made thing. And the other guy, he says in his talk that Islam or religion was put, and many of them become they become the way they become, or they come out there to be for power. They're created for power. No, not Islam. Maybe the other faiths, but I don't think even them in their origins from Judaism. No, I can speak for that, and even with Christianity, of the belief when it was following Jesus and not following him as a God, and so forth, and all this new stuff that came to Trinity. But I'm not trying to make no issues with people who believe in that. I'm just stating what is known today, what the people believe, because before that, there was, if you go back thousands of years before it came into Europe, then you will know that it wasn't teaching the same teaching when Europe took over with it under Constantine and the Nicene Creed. Learn that, Nicene Creed. That's when the Trinity came about. But anyway, I don't want to get into, I don't want to get off track. And I get off track easy because of all that is in my brain, and I'm trying to get this stuff out. So anyway, okay. So let's go on and see what else they're saying.
They don't see it that way, but it's just a story you've been told. How do you try to defend that more than your own real identity? That's what I don't understand.
Yeah, you can't live that kind of persona like for a long time. I grew up Christian. I had so many Muslim friends, but Christians, we eat pork. Most of my friends who grew up Muslim, we ate pork together, but they always go back and lie to the parents that they don't eat pork.
Now you see, lie. What is a lie? A lie is a sin in Christianity, is a sin in Islam, it's a sin anywhere. Even if that's just a normal social thing of a people. If you lie to your father and your mother from whatever language you're speaking in it, it's bad. They all know it's bad. The ancient Egyptians, they knew lying was bad. Babylon, they knew was bad. The Cushites knew it was bad. The Zoroastrians knew it was bad. The ancient Grecians knew it was bad. The Mongols knew it was bad. The ancient Asian dynasties of the Orient, they knew it was bad. A lie is bad. So if that person lied, then he was bad and he was wayward. So he was a what? A wayward Muslim. He was a lying Muslim. And he was bad. And what he did was a sin. 2 sins. Because in Islam, you're not supposed to eat pork. And you shouldn't even like to want to eat it. It just tastes, I mean, I've learned not a lot of pork tastes that great. And there's an aftertaste, even when you taste bacon and you eat bacon. Even when you eat pork, when I ate pork chops, when I was a non-Muslim. So these young running to the side and hiding themselves with their non-Muslim and befriending a non-Muslim, it's a whole nother story in Islam. So they were lying to their parents because they knew it was wrong. A lie is done because to hide the wrong. That's what it is. That's what it comes out to be. That's why it's done. So these kids don't. What is that? What is he trying to say? That oh, it's okay. No, then this guy says it's confusion. Listen to him. Listen to Afridamus.
We went to the club, we did drink, we did all kind of things. And even growing up, I was like, okay, we didn't have a lot of restrictions in my religion like this. So I used to question, so if you guys have all...
And he said he didn't have a lot of restrictions in their religion because Christianity up to times today, especially, has compromised plenty of their belief. And there's a guy, I can't remember his name, he was talking one time, and there's YouTube videos with him. Even you got the guys, the brothers, 3 Muslims, and they do a interview with him or whatever. He was speaking, and he was saying how with all the other faiths, out of all the other faiths, Islam still holds on to its principles and standards and laws out of most of the Muslims in the world. I can't speak for every one of us yet. Like I said, there are wayward Muslims, like these young guys who was with his friend who's not a Muslim, running around and doing what they did, as they say. So anyway, let's listen some more.
All these restrictions that you can't follow, what does that make you? So I never
confused.
Right. So
that confuses the African.
Right.
So now he says that confuses the African. That confuses anybody. They're confused if they were confused, but it's not confusion, bro. You're going again with your, off your head, off your hip, just thinking what you want to say out of your brain. Because whatever you thinking, it's going to come off your mouth, especially if you don't know how to control your mouth, or first make sure what you're thinking is correct, and you have proof of what you're thinking is correct. You know what I'm saying? So basically, the youth doing this, a Muslim youth doing this, and this is from observation because I have children myself, and they're Muslim. They know that is wrong. They know that is wrong. That's why would they lie? They know it's wrong. And the actions say so for themselves. So it's not a confusion. It's just the desire of them giving in to the desire of doing what they choose to want to do because they've been influenced by it. And human beings, the desires can be influenced. We know on a higher level, a more spiritual level, unseen level, is the shaitan, the devil or the beast or Lucifer, Satan, right? All these different names, but we know him, Shaitan, Iblis. This guy mentioned him too because he tries to use some of what he learned from Islam, just like a lot of non-Muslims that used to be Muslim and they want to try to throw out words so then people, he knows about the faith. You don't know, he doesn't barely know anything about the faith. It's clear he's made too many errors. Even the sister later on, you can listen. I'm not going to probably get to her because it's 39, 19, and also the brother that tried to tell this guy that you don't know and you're coming with in misconceptions, misunderstanding because you didn't study and you should have studied. She's told him, the sister said it best, you should have did your research and studied first before you came on this platform to talk because you're making a lot of errors, bro. And that's what he's done. He's messed himself up with a lot of people. And the people who have integrity that a Muslim, and I'm going to talk for you, the Muslims especially, that you need to have integrity and you need to put your foot down for your faith, who you are as a Muslim. Okay, you're African, you're cultural, and you want to keep your cultural identity. Keep that. Islam, we already should know this. Islam doesn't say to get rid of your cultural identity. It just says to get rid of shirk. You cannot practice shirk, and you cannot practice magic, and you cannot practice certain things that Allah is not pleased with and that He's not made permissible. Can't. And that's with any faith, any person who comes out of their faith to Islam. They have to give up those things. They have to negate it. That's what part of that's part of the Shahada. The Shahada is part of affirming that Allah is one and worshiping Him alone, and negating shirk, negating worshiping of others, negating belief in superstition and magic and sorcery and fortune telling and talisman incantations or incantations through magical spells and putting spells on people. All that stuff, and then some, etc. That's what Islam negates that. So that's the problem you may have, Afridamus and all you people who have this push against Islam. Then so be it. Then okay, but don't try to use the people and say they're criminalized from their culture, because your culture, if you want to wear your hair this way, if you want to wear your garb that he speaks about, fashion and stuff, and the different fashions that should be in heaven, unlike how the African women should be, and on in their tribal dress, there's nothing wrong with that. And I don't know what he's talking about. He seems confused because he must be too much out of his country or out of his continent, out of the continent he was born in and the country, and spending too much time in the West. That when he comes back, it blows his mind because he sees difference of what he was when he was coming up, or maybe when he was there, because he's seeing fashion changing on a religious level, because people are starting to come to their beliefs that they want to choose to come to. So they're going to dress a certain way that represents that belief. There's nothing wrong with that. If you got women that want to be half naked, there's nothing wrong with that, right? But you like looking at it. The man likes looking at it or he gets jammed up if he's a Muslim looking at it. But you guys, it's no problem. But if you see a Muslimah sister come and she's wearing niqab and she's wearing the black garb usually, that's where they try to, make that image as that's the one that they're talking about. Plenty of the Muslim women cover fully like that. They may have niqab in different colors. They may have different colors of their jilbab. That's what it's called. The full garb that covers their whole body, pretty much. And even they got some that cover the hands, and they might wear gloves, something like this. But the basic understanding is that they're covering their body, and they're covering their unveilments, their breasts, their backside buttocks, and all the things that man can be, enticed by or attracted to, because we don't supposed to be attracted to outside our homes women that we're not married to, and then go too far beyond and then want to do the things that are haram, which is committing fornication with them. Because this is what it takes you to, and that's a natural thing to want to be attracted to the opposite sex. But it has to be in order. Marriage is that order. And even in African ancestral heritage, that was done. There was marriage ceremonies, even though they incorporated shirk and this type of stuff, rituals. But this was done still with them. People got married. But you seem to be like, because the people get more religious, now you have a problem. But I guess because you've been too much in the West. I don't know what's been going on with you with your life, but now you see the West as how you feel that how Africa should be. But then you want to jump into the Pan-African mode and say, oh, we got to keep a hold to our ancestry and our African culture and whatnot, and not allow ourselves to lose that. And all these religions has taken us away from that. No, stop lying, or stop being, stereotypical, because it hasn't. And that's the point. But I'm gonna finish up. It's 44 in, and even the other guy, I'm gonna pass by him, and you can look at the videos on your own. I mean, this video on your own, speaking about the religions and how they criminalize, as he says, African cultures, and you know, you can find it through his channel, okay, Afridamus. Some of you already subscribe to him. If so, you need to check him out. And if you're a Muslim, even more prevalent that you need to see and say, okay, well, maybe I need to be unsubscribed because this guy's on some other stuff. And he's trying to take people another direction. I don't know where he's taking us. Maybe he's taking us to Europe little by little. Because I've seen what I've seen in one of his videos, and he had these European women and a European man with another European woman sitting in a restaurant, and it was some African group was playing music to these people when they sitting there. And I don't know if it was his camera or who was viewing, how he captured that footage, but what was that for? You know, it reminds me of what they said in Gambia of these older women, white European women coming to Africa looking for sex. That looked like that was a scene set up for that. I don't know, but watch that video. There's plenty of videos, and he has a lot of stuff that is controversial. I don't know what's up with this bro, but may Allah guide him, I mean. And let's just get this clip in. Hold on, let me clip out of this real quick. Hold on for a second. Okay, let me see. Clip into this. Close the Afridamus part off. Okay. Yeah, this is the other Afridamus. This is him with his
what's wrong with my Soninke language?
Hold on for a
You know,
second.
how would that be different from the English that I'm speaking now? They are both foreign to me.
You gotta get caught. You know, sometimes it's technical stuff. You know, you just gotta work it the best way you can. Hold on, let me take it all the way back. All right, this is a clip with him, and he was talking in another video. You can watch that if you want. I don't know, but again, he's dealing with, you know, with cultural differences and who he is and African people. He was dealing with African Americans and you know, that's the thing that's getting me worried about him too, because it seems like he's speaking about more dissension than more bringing the people together. Watch him. Be mindful, people.
What's wrong with my Soninke language? You know, how would that be different from the English that I'm speaking now? They are both foreign to me. Trust you and I. If if I'm required to know Swahili to make money, you best believe I will learn Swahili. You'll be shocked.
Now you heard what he said, right? You heard that. So he was earlier talking about in other videos that I made with him on this that you got. I got the several different parts about the language and people giving up their language in the sense of with the religion to going and learning Arabic, which he feels is not going to get him nowhere. But Arabic is the speaking language in the Arab world. Pakistanis know it. That's why how they make their money. They go there and they're able to communicate with the Arabic speaking people. So what is he talking about? Arabic is the Quran. So when you learn Quranic, as a brother told me, I was worried because I couldn't learn Arabic as much as when I went to Egypt to try to learn it and learn my faith as well and so forth, is because I didn't have time. I had to work. I had to maintain my family. So the brother said to me, don't worry, Akhi, you're learning Arabic from the Quran. That's the best Arabic because it's from Allah's word. But you can learn how to speak Arabic just from learning the Quran. And he was so right. Because some of the words that I know in the Quran and I connect with my faith with it, it made me much better off than I was when I was just trying to go and learn just regular conversational Arabic. But conversational Arabic, especially through their you know, colloquial speaking in their society, that type of Arabic is mixed with other different words that might not even be from the Arabic language, but it got mixed in there somehow, and he changed it, modified words, as you can say, and that Arabic is usable because you can communicate with those people to do business. You can communicate with them when you come into their country and you want to have a place to stay or live if you're coming there to visit, or what have you. Okay? Just like learning Swahili, like he says, to make money. But he's saying, oh, he doesn't need to learn it. It's not going to make him change himself from Saniku, the Saniku people, or Saniki. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, bro. And I don't think anybody's trying to get you to leave who you are. You just have a problem with that. And you want to, amplify it out to everybody through your videos, because that's who you are. You're a content creator, so you use that as your content. Okay, fine. Everybody has their own way of how to use their content. But anyway, that's it, people. Peace and blessings, and keep up the lessons. I'm going to be out. But just know, again, with him, be careful and pay attention and close attention to him. Know what he's about, know what his background. If you can learn about him. There was one that West African brother told me who he was, and I said, Soniki, and he's very, patriotic about him and his people in that sense. And there's nothing wrong with that, but you get too far off. But then again, also, other things speak louder than what you might be saying, because right now he's wearing a dhikr beads. That's from Islam. And he's wearing a fez. So what's going on here? And you talk about fashion, bro. Anyway, thank you for being here and staying with me and listening. Don't forget to click the like button. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And I'm going to be doing other videos, not with this guy anymore at this time. Maybe later in the near future if I choose to touch base on anything else. But other than that, I'm pretty much finished. I'm going to let you go on your own, and you go in there and do your own due diligence and listen, and then take from that and go and check on it. Check on what he's saying. Check and see if he's correct. You understand what I'm saying? Because you shouldn't be following somebody blindly and you don't have no substantial evidence and that what you're following is correct and beneficial for you. Because what is he saying? All this stuff he's been talking about, there ain't no benefit to him. One of the guys said in his talk that this would be good to be discussing this stuff and dialoguing with respect, not laughing, sitting in a panel and talking and making it like it's a foolish stuff about heaven and this and all these areas that people like myself and many believers take very seriously. And like they said, even death can come in. Those extreme people anyway who would do that, because you're not supposed to lose your mind because somebody talks negative about your faith. No, you come at them with the truth. They have the right to speak, say what they want to say. Now, physically, if they're trying to harm you and stop you from your faith, then we have the right to protect ourselves. Yeah, that's understood. But those extreme people, Boko Harams and all those groups, no, we don't. That's not from Islam. That's not from Islam. They don't represent Islam. Those guys is off it. They're off the faith on that aspect. They may make salat, go to the masjid. They may do the things that the regular Muslims do, but they're off the faith on that level. And Allah is going to deal with them. And we can also deal with them too. You have the Muslim established laws in the lands of the Muslims that they have a right to imprison them and to take them into control. And even if they fight them, they can kill them. And it won't be haram on that end. That's clear. So Boko Haram, they're being fought. So I don't care about this Boko Harams and all these groups, Shabab and all them in Africa, because they're gonna meet their demise. They're meeting their demise. They meet it every time they fight. And every time they do what they do, Allah gets something right behind it, and boom, takes away that, and then somebody might raise back up and try to bring that same ideology back out. That's an ideology. The ideology of terrorism. That's their ideology. Which is terrorism is not only blowing oneself up, it's also going and forcing people and terrorizing them to follow the faith of Islam. That's not from Islam. It's not in the Quran, and it's not in the prophet's statements and his actions. So I don't want to hear all that stuff. Bro, you got to learn and understand before you talk. Afridamus and your show. Show correctly and not incorrectly. And give us some benefit, bro, because you're not. And that's all I'm going to say. Peace and blessings. Keep up the lessons. Your brother Taalib from the Brother Taalib Show. I'm out.